Good morning, Unity community. I'm Shirley Thompson, your host today, and I want to welcome you to this gathering here at Unity Center in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. We warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. And today we stand upon the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam Nation, noble guardians of these lands since time immemorial. It's here that we gather to learn, grow, and celebrate our oneness in spirit. And if you're joining us via Zoom or YouTube, welcome. So our mission here at Unity of Vancouver is very simple: to build personal and community well-being through universal spiritual teachings and practices. So let's get to it. Let's have our one power affirmation today. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And now, please rise and join us in singing this morning's group song, God You Are, by Daniel Namad.
Great. Got this one ready. God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Thank you, Beverly and Bill. Today's Unity's daily word is flow. The words I speak flow from infinite wisdom. As I picture a crystal clear stream rushing down a steep mountain slope, I also see it gathering in still pools, calm, deep, and life-giving. This image reminds me that my words and actions flow from a peace that passes understanding, nourished by divine good. Open to this infinite presence, my heart is steadied and my mind is focused. The words I speak and the choices I make become rich and meaningful. They are not surface ripples, but carry the depth and power of spiritual truth. As water flows from mountaintop to coastline, the presence of Spirit flows into every part of my life. Divine love pours into human experience. I am both the rushing waters and the deep pools, and from this stream of wisdom, I speak words that give life. And from Proverbs 18:4, The words of the mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a gushing stream. So, our guest speaker today is Rev Hannelore, and today we explore what it truly means to live in harmony with nature. So now let's warmly open ourselves to receive what we need the most from her message with these 5 powerful affirmations. All together now, I open myself to the healing presence of the natural world. I live in relationship with all living things. I honor the sacred bond between myself and the living earth. In harmony with nature, I remember the truth of who I am. The same life that moves through the earth moves through me. Thank you, and so it is. And now please rise once again and join us in singing our New English translation of the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator and life and all, you create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Our oneness now prevails. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. You give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. You untangle the knots of error that bind us as we also release others. We don't let appearances make us forgetful of our source. We're born free to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. Now these words are fertile ground from which our future grows.
A copy of the Aramaic prayer we just sang, you'll find the blue cards in the seat backs in front of you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Rev Hannelore. She is a gifted storyteller. As a published author, intuitive counselor, and transformational life coach, her passion lies in sharing true life stories. Woven with intuitive wisdom and spiritual insight, her modern-day parables offer a fresh perspective on healing, hope, and the miracles present in daily life. As creator and founder of the Academy for Applied Intuitive Studies, she offers space for deep personal growth through retreats, workshops, and mentorship. These allow for an awakening of intuition and alignment with purpose to live with greater joy and clarity. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Hannelore.
Thank you. It's always great to be back again. So I'm going to take you not just into a meditation, I'm going to take you into a little bit of a journey. And I invite you to surrender and use your imagination. So I do invite you to close your eyes and allow your body to relax. Take a nice deep breath. Fill your body with that beautiful oxygen. And as you're breathing in, just imagine that anything you're holding on to that doesn't serve you, allow that to release with your out breath. So just allow the breathing to be natural, comfortable. And I want you to imagine yourself sitting in your garden, or if it's not a garden, that you have a favorite place in nature, somewhere where you are surrounded by nature, a peaceful place, somewhere where you feel safe, comfortable, and completely at ease. So notice the beauty that's surrounding you now. Notice the colors, textures, movement of any leaves in the breeze. And perhaps you hear a bird song off in the distance. Or there might be a soft rattling of branches. So there's nothing that you need to do right now. There's nothing you need to solve, no place to go. Right now, simply allow yourself to be fully present. And as you sit quietly, you begin to notice something very subtle. It might be a feeling, almost as if the garden, your surroundings, is aware of you. And at first you might brush that feeling aside because it is so subtle. Yet something within you gently whispers, pay attention. You become aware of a presence. It's not frightening, it's not intrusive, but it's peaceful and it's alive and it's welcoming. Somehow you sense this presence is coming from the plants, the trees, the flowers that are surrounding you. And you look around, and nothing really appears unusual. And yet, deep within yourself, you feel it. A connection. A silent communication. And you begin to wonder if nature is far more alive and more aware than what we've been taught to believe. For unity teaches that there is only one presence and one life expressing itself through all creation, through the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the animals, and you. Now, what if the earth has always been speaking, but we simply forgot how to listen? So, in this moment, allow yourself to become quiet and still. Not listening with your mind, but with your heart. Perhaps the plants are not using words at all. Perhaps they communicate to you through feelings that you are now experiencing in your own body. And you may experience it through a knowing. And you sense their patience and their quiet wisdom. The gentleness with which they simply grow toward the light. And now, imagine the garden recognizes you. Not as being separate from it, but as part of the living web of life itself. You are now no longer observing nature. You are in relationship with it. Perhaps this is what it means to truly live in harmony. To recognize that the same divine intelligence that guides the stars also moves through every leaf, every breath, every living being. And take a slow, deep breath. And imagine roots gently extending from your body into the earth, connecting you, grounding you, nourishing you. And feel the stillness and peace. For the ancient intelligence present within all living things. And perhaps for just this moment, you remember something ancient that nature has always been reaching toward you, waiting patiently for you to listen, to be aware. Unity reminds us that we are spiritual beings connected to all life, and that we become still enough to listen. We remember we were never separate from the divine, nor from one another. Now, with another gentle breath, bring your awareness back to your breath, feeling gratitude for this moment, for the earth beneath you, for the life and all these beings that are surrounding and with you, and for the quiet wisdom that lives within you. And when you are ready, slowly return your awareness to the room, bringing with you a deeper sense of connection and of harmony and wonder. So be it.
I went up to the mountain because you asked me to. Up over the clouds to where the sky was blue. I could see all around me, everywhere. I could see all around me, everywhere. Well, sometimes I feel like I've never been nothing but tired, and I'll be working till the day I expire. Sometimes I lay down, no more can I do, but then I go on again because you asked me to. Sometimes I look down, afraid I will fall. Though the sun shines, I see nothing at all. And then I hear your sweet voice, come and then go, come and then go, telling me softly, you love me so. the peaceful valley just over the mountain. The peaceful valley few have come to know. I may never get there ever in this lifetime, but sooner or later it's there I will go. Sooner or later it's there I will go.
Have you ever had any time where you, have recently just spent some time in nature, away from the city, away from all the noise, and just in an isolated place, just being still? It's just like being in an ancient, have you ever been in an ancient forest, with a grove of these incredible old trees? Or even being able to see a sunset or a sunrise. What does that do to your feeling? How do you feel with that? A lot of times I'll say, what is it that brings you joy? And so many people don't know what it is that brings them joy. So when I see something like a beautiful sunset or an incredible vision, I just feel this excitement and I want to share that with someone that I love. When I truly connect and have such tremendous respect for nature, I realize there's a reciprocity that occurs. And it's a cooperation between myself and the plants. And when I look at, I remember one of my favorite image, for example, of Christ was when I was a little girl. There was an image of him sitting in a forest, surrounded with children and animals, and it was so peaceful. And that's when I truly fell in love with Christ. And that is in nature, expressing itself constantly. I was also reminded, as I was putting information together for this talk, of Findhorn. Has anyone here ever heard or familiar with Findhorn? Findhorn is an incredible place. It's in Scotland. And in the 1960s, a group of people were there in their caravans and surrounding the area, and they wanted to plant this garden, but the soil, it was sandy, there was no nourishment, there was nothing that would indicate that you're going to be able to grow anything in this area. But they did an experiment, and they opened themselves up to listening, and they realized that the plant spirits were now communicating with them and directed them as to what to put into the soil. And they ended up having this incredible relationship. And what was so remarkable is that they grew these astonishing vegetables. They had these enormous 42-pound cabbages and 62-pound broccolis. I mean, they became world-renowned. And what it became known as such an incredible example of what we can do with nature, and not working on nature, but working with it. A very dear friend of mine, who is a world-renowned photographer, happened to be there at that time, and she was with them as they were doing this. She took a lot of the photographs, and it's in one of the first picture books of Findhorn. And I loved hearing some of the stories she shared. It was really inspiring. And it inspired me to work differently with my garden, knowing what type of things to put into the soil and communicating with it and sending it love and feeling its gratitude as it provides in return. Years ago, when I was working on one of my retreats, and I had people staying over for dinner, and I went into my garden and I picked a couple of my lettuces, and I was washing it in the sink. And as I was washing this lettuce, I noticed that as I was working with my fingers through the lettuce and the water, there was this incredible blue-green iridescent light coming from it. I mean, it was trippy. I thought I was hallucinating, but it was so incredible. I was playing around with it and washing it. I asked my friends to come over and see if they could see it, and I was relieved that they could too. So, and this is what's around. We have an auric field around us all the time. It's an energy field around us. Scientists actually have discovered that plants are far more responsive and interconnected than we've ever believed them to be. We've learned that plants communicate through the intricate underground fungal system. They respond to light, sound, touch, environmental stress, and they can signal a warning to neighboring plants when there's going to be an infestation of some kind. And some researchers are now speaking of plant intelligence and even plant sentience. And it's not a human consciousness, but it's a unique form of awareness, entirely of their own. So we're not necessarily the master race here on the planet. There's so many things that are intricately woven to provide us nourishment, to the air that we breathe. We had a guest speaker here not long ago, Diana Beresford Kroger, and she has written a book, Call of the Forest, and also documentary, and fascinating, a wonderful speaker, and her books are so incredible, and how important it is that we save our forests. But that's another whole topic. I have to really smile sometimes when science discovers what the indigenous cultures have known for many thousands of years. That life is conscious, nature is alive, and humanity was never separate from it. Now, perhaps the deeper question is not whether nature communicates, but whether we have actually forgotten how to listen. We get so busy with our TVs and media, and we're so distracted that we don't have time to just sit and quietly and just be. In my last talk, I was on communing with nature, and I mentioned very briefly that for years I created these Vision Quest retreats. And it's in a very, very remote wilderness setting. The only way you can get there is by boat or by plane. Not by plane, just by boat. And it's right at the ocean's edge, and it's in a rainforest. And the purpose of the retreat was to be able to be in that silence, to connect with nature, but in that doing that, to be able to tune inward and see what is our purpose. What's the next step we take in life? How can we move forward? And so people were aware that we were going into a very, very isolated place. And they were also told beforehand that in this 5-day retreat, they would spend 24 hours in nature by themselves. So you can imagine how disconcerting it was when they walked in and saw this great big huge sign about warnings and about bears in the area. And so the gist of the sign, and I'm condensing it because it does talk a great deal about what to do, and it explains that hikers should wear little bells so that they don't surprise bears as they walk around a corner. And they should carry pepper spray for protection. Then it added, you can tell the difference between black bear and grizzly bear scat. Black bear scat contains berries and squirrel fur. Grizzly bear scat contains little bells and smells like pepper spray. So nature has a wonderful way of humbling us very quickly. So the fourth day, at sunrise, people will already have selected their space that they're going to go to, and they needed to be somewhere where they could not see anyone else. They had to be on their own. They could only bring a backpack, a flashlight, a blanket, a bottle of water, and a journal and a pen to write with. That's it. No tent, no nothing else. And they were to go into their space that they've chosen, find a center spot, and imagine 12 spaces in each direction, and they had to stay in that circle. They could not leave that circle. So it's interesting how we react to things like that, because it's the first thing is that we experience a restlessness. Then there's boredom. And then fear comes in, especially at night. With every little sound that one hears, one's imagination runs wild. And when I was asked, what should they do if there's going to be a bear coming into their space, I suggested just to have a couple of rocks on hand or a couple of branches and just clash them together. So off in the distance through the night, you could hear click, 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 as everyone's experiencing these little bits of fear, trying to keep these sounds away. So when I connected with one of the participants, her name's Diana, and she chose a place that was a little bit of a hike going up the mountain, and there was a stream, a river that was coming down. And so she had her spot right there at the river. And she was all settled in, doing her vision quest, experiencing nature, and she looked over, and right across the stream was a cougar looking back at her. And they just looked at each other. They just watched each other in silence. They kept gazing. And rather than panic, Diana silently began sending the animal thoughts of respect, of love, of appreciation for its beauty and its strength. And so after a while, had a drink, and it just turned around and walked away. Now, Diana, she is part Métis as well, and she wrote in her journal, because she's known that animals also signify different things when they come into your life. And so this is just a very small excerpt of what she wrote in her journal and of Cougar's message to her. And she wrote, "There is no need to go back upstream, pushing against the flow. Look around you and find the path of ease, of gentleness and fluidity. This is the path being shown to you. There is no need for struggle. And stop playing salmon." So Diana realized that the cougar reflected something to her about her own life. She realized that the cougar is often seen as a symbol of courage, of inner strength, and of coming into one's own power. Now, when I did my journey, I also would go into the forest and do the 24-hour, and found my little place to spend my time for my own vision quest. And at that point, I did a tremendous amount of traveling, teaching classes and seminars in different areas. And I felt that I was being directed to not travel as much, spend more time with my family, spend more time with my grandchildren. The whole time that I was doing my quest, there was a woodpecker, and it actually had followed me up into this place that I chose, and it stayed with me right throughout my whole 24 hours. What I realized then is when I looked up the symbol and the meaning of woodpecker, the meaning is beating your own drum and starting something anew. For not long afterwards, I ended up placing everything I had into storage, and I was guided to do a 1-year world tour, which is totally opposite from what I thought was going to be my purpose. And it was fascinating, and met a lot of incredible people, had a lot of adventures, learned a great deal. And it surprised me because nature seems to sometimes know what our path is before we do. So during my studies, I also learned a bit about animal communication and how to telepathically commute to animals, which is what I did with the dolphins for many years. And I had a very unusual experience, and that is when I purchased a home in Pender Harbor. It really needed a tremendous amount of work. In fact, my daughter looked at it and she said, "Oh my God, it looks like an Amityville horror house." But I had a vision, and both my partner and I completely gutted the house. Now, the house was previously owned by fishermen, and they often cleaned and gutted their fish around the house. So needless to say, it was overrun with rats. So when we were tearing the walls apart and doing the renovations, we were clearing all the nests out and closed up any place that they could get in. And we thought we were fine until we settled in. September, late September, we could hear them. They were in the walls. They were in the ceiling. My partner said, "That's it. I'm going to put out some poison and some traps." I said, "Well, can you give me a day or two, and I'm going to see if I can communicate with them." Now, he knows I'm a bit quirky in that way, so he accepted that as a possibility. And I'd never done this before, but what I did was I sat down in meditation. I closed my eyes, right in my higher self and grounded, asked for guidance. I always asked Jesus to be with me. And I had my eyes closed, and I telepathically said, "I want to speak with the king of the rats." And instantaneously, there was a rat face like this big, right in front of me, which made me jolt backwards. And then I thought, well, I've just asked for it to appear. So I took a deep breath and looked at it, and I said, "All right, you need to let all the rats in this house know that they have to leave. Because if they don't, they're going to be poisoned or traps are going to be set out. Now, I don't mind if you're around outside." I backed onto Crown land, and it was a beautiful area. I said, "You can be outside, but just not in the house." Then it said, and I'm going, "Oh, okay," I was surprised. It said, "Then you need to do," and this is all telepathic, of course, "you need to do something in return." So I said, "What's that?" "You need to build a shelter and put some food outside." So I said, "Okay." So I shared that with my partner, and we did that. There were no more rats. And for the many years that I've lived in that house afterwards, not a single rat was in my house. Now, I shared this story in one of my classes with a fellow, and I'll call him John. And he sent me an email. So several months later, I get an email, and it said, "I had something stirring, a mouse." And he wrote the fact that he had a mouse in his house, which previously he had trapped other mice. And he was about to set traps, and he remembered my story. So he thought, I wonder. So he said, I went into meditation, closed my eyes, and I asked to speak to the mousy god. He says, I was quite surprised because suddenly I could kind of see this little grayish thing with black eyes peeking out from behind a corner or whatever it was. I don't really understand these things. But I was not about to make any deals of building a shelter or putting food outside. I shared with it that it had to leave my house or take its chances because there was going to be traps. And I threw in some little details about wiring and safety, and I let it go. He said within 3 days, he had no mice and never had mice after that. So he said, here I am, 6'2". I'm an engineer that builds bridges, and I'm talking to mousy gods. He says, I thought about telling the guys at work, but they'd have a heyday with that one. And then he finished it off and saying, hey, maybe we should patent this and put it out there. So that was a beautiful bit of a chuckle for me to hear that from him. When I, doing the dolphin retreats for so many, another story I actually want to share with you is I realized that when a crow swooped down in front of my car, I was just intuitively guided that it was telling me to slow down. And oftentimes, as I would turn a corner and I'd slow down, there might have been an animal in distress or maybe about to cross the street. Or something might have happened. Sometimes it wasn't anything, but I don't know what I might have missed had I not. And so this one particular day, it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was driving with my son, and he was going a bit faster than he should, but there was no traffic, and we were driving in the countryside, and a crow swooped down in front of the windshield, and I let it go, and then another one swooped down. So I looked over to him and I said, maybe I think he might need to slow down. And surprised, his foot lifted off the gas and he kind of looked at me and he goes, why? And we turned the corner and there was a huge radar trap. Then he looked at me and he went, oh God, Mom. So it's, so I do trust that crows are telling me to slow down. When we are in a situation with dolphins, for example, I've often telepathically communicated with dolphins, and we would play all kinds of games underwater. And this one particular time, I had been in the water quite early one morning, and I was on my own, and a small pod of dolphins came by, beautiful, peaceful, graceful, as they usually are. And then they started swimming below me, about 20 feet below me, and they started creating this pattern, this swimming in formation, and it became like a geometric pattern. And it reminded me of sacred geometry, and it was fascinating to watch. And when I connected with a very dear friend of mine, Francine Hart, who's an incredible artist, and she does all of her artwork has sacred geometry in it. And I saw exactly what, in one of her paintings, what I saw in the water. And she allowed me to use that, and I have it on the cover of my CD called Communing with Dolphins. And in sacred geometry, when we're truly present, we notice that there's in shells and everything that we see in the leaf pattern of a leaf. And ancient tradition has spoken of this for thousands of years. And some describe it as the sacred geometry, a divine blueprint that is woven throughout creation itself. And it's almost what some people call the flower of life. And it's a reminder that all life emerges from one source and remains eternally connected. Unity teaches that there is one presence and one life expressing through all creation. So it's within every cell, within our DNA. Nature does not merely surround us, it reveals itself to us. In another moment when I had gone when I was at my retreat, I was experiencing a lot of pain in my feet, and it was difficult for me to walk around. And so while the participants had an afternoon break, I decided to go into the ocean because the ocean is so healing in itself. I was to discover that when you're in the ocean water for about 20 minutes, it replenishes your bodily salts. And when you have ocean water, the salts, actually, it's like you're being cradled and wrapped like a baby and being held. So it's very easy just to simply let go and float. And I have experienced many people through the years in my retreats that have had emotional and physical healings occur with the dolphins. So as a small pod of dolphins approached me, I telepathically put the message out and said, if you can, I would love it if you would send some healing energy for my feet. And we connected as we usually do, and they were swimming around. And we were together for at least 15 minutes, if not more. And I returned back to shore, and as I was walking back to the house, I suddenly realized I had no more pain in my feet. So that's how remarkable these healings can be and do occur. So many indigenous traditions have long understood what modern humanity is only just beginning to understand now. The earth is not something we walk upon, but something we live in relationship with. Animals are not beneath us. They are our relatives, our teachers, part of the sacred web of life. I was blessed to be adopted by a powerful Blackfoot elder. She gave me my Blackfoot name, which is Natuminaki, and that means Sacred Wings Woman. And with that name came a responsibility to listen, to learn, and to honor the wisdom that comes back not only from books, but from the earth, from the animals, from the elders, and from spirit moving through all of life. A phrase often spoken at the end of Indigenous prayers and ceremonies is all my relations. A simple phrase, yet one containing profound wisdom and a way of being. It acknowledges that all of life, seen and unseen, is interconnected. The trees, the waters, the winged ones, the animals, the earth, the ancestors, and one another. We're not separate from this web of life. We belong to it. And when we remember this, like when we truly remember and begin to feel it, something within us returns to harmony, to reverence, to belonging. For nature is not separate from the divine. It is the divine made visible. As Anne Frank once wrote, I firmly believe that nature brings solace to all troubles. Perhaps the trees themselves quietly remind us of something important. They are not stressed, and they have been here far longer than we have. So in closing, this is what it means to live in harmony with nature. Not observing from the outside, but remembering we were never separate from it. We are not learning something new, we are remembering something ancient, something the soul has always known. You are not separate from nature, you are aware of nature itself. The same intelligence that moves the oceans lives within you. Trust it, follow it, and it will guide you home. For there is only one life, one presence, the divine expressing in all things. And in this moment, it is expressing as you. So may every step you take be filled with kindness, love, and gratitude. And may every farewell remind you that every sunset quietly awaits and embraces the sunrise. So be it.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. So beautiful. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms, let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Let's do it again and sing it with me, because I know you know the words. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
Let's give it up one more time for the fabulous Beverly Elliott and Bill Costin. And thank you again, Hannelore, for such a wonderful talk. There were so many wonderful stories. I really was touched by the story about getting rid of the rats by communicating with them. Wow, that's something. So thank you. Thank you, Hannelore. And just to let you know, Hannelore has some books and CDs out at the table in the lobby if you're interested. And now we come to the time in our service where we bless our love offerings. So now let's together say our offering statement. All together now. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And if you're here in person, please drop off your donation with the ushers as you exit the sanctuary. And to donate online, simply click on the donate link in your chat window, and you can give via all major credit cards. So now we do the coming up events. We have lots going on here. We are so excited to announce that Brandon Isaac will be joining us on Friday, June 12th. If you like the blues, you will love Brandon Isaac, nominee for International Blues Album of the Year. This is sure to be an incredibly entertaining show featuring unparalleled musicians, deep down soul, and a disarming lightheartedness and humor that will leave you wanting more. Grab some friends and experience an evening of first-class entertainment. So get your tickets before they sell out, and you can find them on Eventbrite and on our website. We will be holding an art therapy expression experience here at Unity on Saturday, May the 30th from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on the lower level. Come share a space to explore creativity as a pathway to self-discovery and healing. Through guided meditation and quiet, intuitive art making, you'll be invited to connect more deeply with yourself and express what lives within, free from judgment. No artistic experience is needed, just a willingness to explore. Tickets are $90 and available on Eventbrite or at the front desk. All supplies are provided. Space is limited, though, so you also need to remember to bring water, lunch, and feel free to bring a journal. For additional details, please see our website. Join our Course in Miracles group every Tuesday from 12:30 to 2:30 in the lower level. Learn alongside lighthearted individuals as you explore and expand your awareness. All are welcome. Your presence really does enrich the circle. I'm out of order here, I think. Reflective roundtables are on hold this week and we'll be back again next Sunday. Join us for a thoughtful small group conversation exploring the day's message through shared insights, deep listening, and meaningful connections in a welcoming, structured space. Our mastermind prayer groups meet every Sunday before service from 10 a.m. to 10:30 downstairs in the meditation room. And this group offers a powerful way to align with your goals through practice of unity prayer. Today's affirmative prayer chaplains are Melba Burns, Jennifer Solly, and Margaret McLeod, and on Zoom will be Carolyn Conlon. Could you please stand? And they will all be up here after the music ends to support you in prayer, and just know everything is very confidential. Join us downstairs for coffee, cookies, and conversation. And next Sunday, we welcome Dr. Tanya G. with her talk about how we can rise above suffering and into a place of equanimity. Dr. Tanya will also be giving a private breathing workshop on Sunday afternoon. And if you're interested, you can check for the details on our website. And now we bring to a gathering our close. And please stand as we say the prayer for protection. All together now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now let's join together in the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
If you're on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. We send you our love and look forward to seeing you next week. And if you're on Zoom and want to pray confidentially with a chaplain in a private room, please accept your breakout invitation, which will pop up on your screen shortly. Thank you so much for joining us. See you all next week, and God bless.